All right, let's dive right in. Today we're talking about a powerful, often totally overlooked asset in the world of high finance: language. We're going to break down how learning a strategic second language isn't just some soft skill, it's a high return career investment that can unlock doors you didn't even know were there. So picture this. You're in a high-stakes boardroom, right? Maybe you're in Singapore or Dubai trying to hammer out a massive deal. The numbers are flying, tensions are getting high, and then, bam, it happens. Some tiny cultural nuance gets completely lost in translation, and just like that, the entire negotiation is off the rails. And believe me, this kind of thing happens way more often than you'd think. And look, the stakes here, they couldn't be higher. We're talking about a global finance world where, get this, $7.5 trillion changes hands every single day. That's just in the foreign exchange markets alone. In a game this big, you need every single edge you can get. So how do you get that edge? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Multilingualism, that is your unfair advantage. It's the key that turns those potential train wrecks into massive opportunities. Just think about the difference for a second. On one side, you've got the monolingual pro. They're stuck relying on translators, totally missing the subtle feeling behind the words. But on the other side, the multilingual pro, they're building trust directly. They get what's really being said between the lines, and they can slice their complex local regulations without a middleman. It's literally the difference between watching the game from the sidelines and actually being on the field calling the plays. And yeah, this advantage, it shows up right where it counts, in your paycheck. The data's just crystal clear on this. Bilingual analysts earn on average a 15% premium. Get to the director level, and that jumps to 30%. I mean, overall, you could be looking at a salary bump of up to 35%. This isn't just some nice-to-have skill, it's a serious financial investment in yourself. Okay, so the big question is, which languages give you the best bang for your buck? We're about to break down the 7 powerhouses. Think of them as your global toolkit. Each one is a key to a specific global market. And first up, of course, we have to start with the giant Mandarin Chinese. If you speak Mandarin Chinese, you've got a direct line into China's $18 trillion stock market and all its massive global projects. You just can't afford to ignore its economic power. I mean, the edge this gives you is just huge. You get unfiltered access to information, and this is critical. You can actually navigate the whole Guanji network thing, that web of relationships that is everything in Chinese business. And the payoff? It's a preferred skill in 40% of top finance roles in Hong Kong and Singapore, where salaries can top 1.2 million Hong Kong dollars. All right, number 2, Spanish. And this isn't just about Latin America's booming $6 trillion economy. It's also a powerhouse skill within the United States, where there are over 41 million speakers. That makes it a total dual-threat language for any finance pro out there. When you speak Spanish, you can dive into raw data directly from, say, the Bolsa Mexicana, and you can bridge those cultural hierarchies that can make or break a deal. This is absolutely crucial for the $1 trillion in trade flowing between the US and Latin America. And it's not just international stuff. Even right here at home, bilingual loan officers, for example, are seeing an 18% salary premium. Okay, now let's talk about the language of capital itself: Arabic. This is your key to unlocking the Middle East's colossal sovereign wealth funds. We're talking over $4.5 trillion in assets, and getting in on the ground floor of these mega projects like Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030. Look, fluency in Arabic gives you an edge that is just almost unbeatable in that region. You get the inside track on the nearly $4 trillion market for Sharia-compliant funds, and you can figure out the local sentiment on huge things like OPEC cuts without waiting for a translation. The result? Finance pros in Dubai can command salaries over 800,000 dirhams. Okay, let's hop over a few continents to French. Since Brexit, French has become more critical than ever for navigating the EU's big regulatory hubs in Paris and Luxembourg. But it's also the language of those high-growth frontier markets all across Francophone Africa. And that dual purpose is what makes it so powerful. I mean, think about it. One day you could be digging through EU compliance docs, and the next you're on the ground negotiating a mining finance deal in Côte d'Ivoire. The reward is real, with salary bumps around 22% in Paris. And it's also becoming a must-have for careers in ESG and climate finance. Next up, the language of precision itself: German. Germany is the absolute anchor of Europe's 4.3 trillion euro economy. So if you're dealing with anything in Europe's industrial or manufacturing core, German is non-negotiable. We're talking about complex financing for Germany's world-class engineering companies. What's cool here is that the precision of the language itself becomes your secret weapon. It's perfect for structuring really complex derivatives or really getting the hang of Mittelstand financing. You know, that network of small and medium-sized businesses that are the true backbone of the German economy. And for that technical skill, Quants in Frankfurt can pull in over 120,000 euros. All right, let's head back over to Asia and talk about Japanese. With Japan's absolutely massive bond market and its spot as a high-tech powerhouse, Japanese is just non-negotiable for anyone involved in yen trading or investing in the tech sector over there. So the advantage here is kind of twofold. First, you can decode policy statements from the Bank of Japan instantly without a translation lag, which is a lifetime in trading. Second, you can master Keigo. That's the super formal, respectful language, which is how you build that deep, deep client trust. And pros who can nail that nuance can see returns of 15 million yen and up in Tokyo. And rounding out our list, our seventh powerhouse is Portuguese. This is your ticket into Brazil's $2.1 trillion economy, a global giant in commodities, agribusiness, and energy. If you're an emerging market specialist, this one is a total must-have. This is one of those languages that lets you really get your hands dirty, right? You can dig into local Bovespa stock filings and find trends your competitors are going to miss and really get a handle on massive sectors like the pre-salt oil boom. And that kind of on-the-ground knowledge, it commands salaries of 300,000 Brazilian reais and up in São Paulo's financial district. Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. But the really big question is, how do you actually get started? The good news is, it's way more manageable than you think. Let's break down a simple plan you can use. Okay, here's your 4-step game plan. It's simple. First, pick your niche. And seriously, don't just learn a language at random. Match it to your actual career goals. Second, dedicate just 30 minutes a day. That's it. Consistency is everything. Third, be smart about it. Don't learn words for zoo animals. Focus on the 1,000 most common financial terms first. And finally, get certified. This is how you prove it to employers and validate your skills. Okay, I know what some of you are probably thinking right now. We live in this age of incredible AI translators, right? So with all this amazing tech, are human language skills even relevant anymore? It's a fair question, and we have to tackle it head on. And the answer, let me tell you, is a huge, resounding yes. Here's the deal. AI is great at translating words, but it completely misses the culture, the trust, that guanxi stuff we talked about. It misses the intent behind the words. A recent McKinsey study found that humans who can bridge that gap still close 80% more deals than processes that just rely on tech. So, I'll leave you with this question. In a world that's only going to get more and more dominated by AI, what's going to be your human edge?